What's up, guys? It's another week on the Movie Vault. I'm Ben.
And I'm Zach.
And
Took me a minute.
Yeah, and I just want to take a moment to say that I recognize Taiwan as a country, because I heard a story where John Cena recognized Taiwan as a country, and then he renounced it, and I don't feel like that's right, and I want to say that I stand against John Cena and I stand for Taiwan.
John Cena scares me. I stand with John
Yeah,
Cena.
no, what scares me is that there's somebody who scared John Cena.
Who?
And well, who knows?
The Rock?
I mean, guess the only main force that really wants to not recognize Taiwan as a country is China. So it's got to be China. But the fact that they had so much influence over John Cena that he was like, "Oh, sorry that I said that." And this is I didn't actually look up to verify this story. It was just an interesting story, so I figured verifying things makes it less interesting. So, you can go look up whether or not John Cena actually said this, but this is what I heard.
Wait.
And I was like,
John Cena is more scary than China, though, I think.
Yeah, but China obviously scared him if he renounced that Taiwan was a country.
Yeah.
So is China more scary? Because obviously if John Cena's scared of China, then China must be more scary than...
It's the transitive property.
I mean,
when
I talk about China,
Cena.
I mean the Chinese government, just to be very clear.
It's not the land.
Not the land or the people,
Yeah.
just the government.
Huh.
Or the military, maybe. Maybe more the military because they're controlled by the government.
Who would win, The Rock or John Cena?
Oh, man. I think The Rock would.
Or Jack Black.
Jack Black would win.
Me too. I think that.
Have you seen Nacho Libre? We reviewed Nacho Libre.
Yes, refer back to that. We can foreshadow.
He'd easily win with all those wrestling skills.
Yeah, and he dresses up in his Jablinski Games videos on YouTube about he dresses up as Thor once and Captain America, and those are the weirdest videos I've ever seen of Jack Black. He's wearing the tiniest little thong basically.
Yeah.
And he just runs around as a superhero with his kids, and his kids are having a blast. And he seems like a really fun dad, but
I got this image in my head now.
I don't want to
get it out.
I don't want to look at that all day.
Yeah,
I love Jack Black though.
Maybe looks aren't Jack Black's the thing that draws people to Jack Black,
I don't know. I feel like part of it is he has that shape, and that's why people are looking.
That's true. That's true.
not specifically a bigger. I'm saying he's a bigger guy, but it's at the same time he's flaunting everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. Because in Nacho Libre, he has this air about him that's he's showing,
his stretchy pants.
His stretchy pants.
That's what it was.
Yeah, but today we're gonna talk about some more attractive people. Which would be the Black Widow movie. Because superhero movies are known for just casting the most attractive people.
David Harbour.
And David Harbour.
No, David Harbour is attractive.
That's true. They tried to make him look not like he looks in Stranger Things, but more like Jack Black in this movie. But I think he's still attractive.
David Harbour proves that people with dad bods can be superheroes.
Yes. That was a big boundary that they broke. I mean, that was a big ceiling on the superhero genre that they broke.
And they broke the glass ceiling by having a slightly over average.
I mean,
male.
It's not even like he was that big. He was just a little.
No,
he just had a little bit.
They just had that
to
one bit where he was trying to fit in a suit, and that's the only point.
Yeah, exactly. But he was, Russia's version of Captain America,
which is pretty cool.
The Red Guardian, yeah, and he wanted to fight Captain America because he thought that he would easily beat him.
He told people that he would fight. He already fought Captain America and won. That was a lie.
Yeah. But this movie was directed by Kate Shortland, who I honestly want to look up Kate Shortland because I don't know anything else that she's directed. Is this the first thing that she's directed? I'm not entirely sure. I doubt it's the first thing. No, she's directed Berlin Syndrome. I think I've heard of that movie, but very, and then Lore and Somersault. Which Somersault seems like it was much more of an indie movie.
So actually, a little backstory. Who was the Academy Award winner who's directing Eternals? Zhao?
Oh, Zoe. No. The Nomadland director.
Yes. Anyway, she was
Chloe Zhao.
Yes,
yeah,
Chloe Zhao. She was in rumor to direct Black Widow way back in the day, but Scarlett Johansson is an executive producer in this movie, and she wanted Kate Shortland. She picked Kate Shortland. They knew each other previously.
Huh. That's
So
very
I'm
interesting.
thinking Scarlett Johansson might be in one of her previous movies, possibly, because Scarlett Johansson said, "I want her to direct my movie when it happens." So
That's possible. So she somehow knew this person. Yeah. I'm not gonna take the time to look through the cast list, but that's very possible. This came out this year, so 2021. It grossed. Now here's an interesting thing. It grossed 158 million to a 200 million dollar budget, but that doesn't count all the money from
Disney Plus.
Disney Plus,
And
which they charge like $30 per.
And it's still in theaters right now.
Yeah. So I think that Disney will have easily made money off of this.
And they broke. It was like the highest movie since COVID started.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, because it's still, I think it's still a little bit tough to get people to go to theaters. But there's definitely more people. Like when we went, there was more people than when we went to see Tenet. There was nobody. It was just
Yeah,
us.
you're right.
Or
That
like
was a long time ago.
when we saw Chaos Walking, which
Oh, yeah.
there was nobody because the movie wasn't that good. But
Oh, poor Tom Holland and Daisy Ridley.
Daisy Ridley. Yeah, unfortunately, and Mads Mikkelsen. I love Mads Mikkelsen,
Oh,
but
true. Not a great
nothing
movie.
could save that movie.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. It had potential,
It did have potential. It's
but
an
we were
interesting movie.
expecting it to probably not be amazing.
Yeah.
Though.
It was surprisingly high quality. Like some of the imagery was high quality. It's just the writing and the
Tom Holland's usually
world
pretty
building
great,
was
yeah.
kind of not great.
Daisy Ridley was not great in that movie.
Yeah,
I keep forgetting that like she was even in that movie.
yeah, it's true. She wasn't that great. She's only good in Star Wars
Maybe.
that I've watched. But I mean, this is your MCU. I mean, it was supposed to come out like what, a year and a half ago
Oh yeah.
or longer.
And it's been on the short list for a long time.
So the order kind of got thrown off with the TV shows and stuff.
Yeah, it's a very confusing timeline now. The
Yeah.
MCU's timeline is really
So
crazy
this
now.
is in between Civil War
Yes.
and Infinity War.
Mm-hmm.
That's when this is set because she's in hiding, and then she realizes that there's a bigger problem going on that hasn't been addressed at some point because this person comes in. But we'll do watch and top notch before we get too much into the plot.
I already know what we're both gonna say. I'd say watch.
Watch. Yeah, I mean this is very solid, but probably mid tier at best MCU.
Oh yeah,
movie.
it's not in my top half.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it is either. I don't know exactly where it is, but I know it's not in my top half.
Yeah, and it's only because the style of the movie itself and what it set up. It's a smaller movie. Smaller doesn't mean bad, but it's a story that probably could have been more compelling, I think.
Yeah, but I will say it did probably slightly exceed my expectations because I didn't necessarily have super high expectations for this movie. So in that regard, it may have slightly exceeded them.
Yeah, it probably hit right on my expectations, which that never happens.
That never happens. It's
Yeah.
either better or worse.
Yeah, that's weird.
The plot is I don't know about straightforward, but it's
I can try. I've seen it twice now,
Okay.
so I it's kind of fresh in my brain. So it starts off with a really cool chase scene where there's a regular family from Ohio. Shameless state plug. What?
Because that's what people from
I
Ohio
know, I'm
do.
joking. But so they're in a chase scene. So because they're in there, it's just a regular family. There's two daughters. Natasha is the eldest daughter, and there's a mother, a father, and then Natasha has a little sister named Yelena. And they're playing, doing cartwheels, and then they go in and have dinner. The dad comes home, played by David Harbour, and he looks a little bit worried and tells his wife that it's time. They pack up, leave very quickly, and the government comes. SHIELD. There's a SHIELD truck that comes up with Agent Ross from The Incredible Hulk and Captain America Civil War, etc., and Endgame. So they leave because they're revealed to be Russian spies. They go back to a place in Russia. It looks like an island, and while they're there, they meet the Red Guardian, which is the dad. Apparently he is a Captain America knockoff in Russia, created to be like their symbol of patriotism for their country. And he's not as great of a guy. He's kind of like a trained killer, and so it was revealed that they were put on this mission as a family. They're not all actually related. That Natasha and Yelena were actually both taken when they were little and from their real families and trained into this system under Dreykov, and Dreykov
Dreykov.
and this guy is a messed up guy, and he's kind of like the main antagonist in this movie. In the second, I'd say Taskmaster's a secondary.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah, it's like it's like the Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine dynamic, where there's the enforcer and then there's the brains. You know?
You're right. You're right. So then, then it zooms in. Then it has this really cool opening sequence of this is one of the highlights in the movie for me, where it was like a 4-minute song, and they're just showing like all these really dark clips that are really unsettling.
It looks like a historical documentary type thing, and they play like a really somber sounding cover of "Smells Like Teen Spirit" by Nirvana. And the other song that's really important in this is "American Pie."
Yeah, you're right.
Because that's like what's her name? The other girl, Yelena. That's her favorite song.
Yeah, and they play it like a few times throughout the movie.
Yeah, but then that was a really thing that they've never really done, because they played the whole credits basically like an old fashioned.
Marvel's
movie.
never done that, and that was something that I could tell. They're like, you know what? Kate Shortland was like, this is my movie. I would kind of want to do a really dark opening sequence, and I think it worked out really well. Because then after that was over, you're like, wait, this could be like really good if they go down this route.
Set the tone.
Yeah, this is probably one of the darkest MCU movies, just because of the subject matter. And, of course, people would expect that. Black Widow, very dark character. Anyway, so it gets to present day. It shows Natasha, she's on the run. It's right after Civil War. It picks right up. Agent Ross is pursuing her. He was much older. Apparently, he had a triple bypass. And they're chasing her. She ends up escaping on a boat, goes to her private place, where she has this guy that she was friends with. I can't remember his name, but he's never been seen in the MCU, and apparently he supplies her with all the places to stay and all her things.
Yeah, he's like the witness protection program, but independent contractor version of that.
Yeah, and it doesn't sound like he makes a lot, but I don't know.
He does it for the love of the job, I guess.
Sure, whatever you say. So then she gets shipped this vial, and there's a clip that shows Yelena as a Black Widow, and she gets this mist sprayed in her face that makes her suddenly conscious again and realizes, what am I doing? I just killed someone. So then it flashes to Natasha, and she gets sent a package of those vials, a bunch of them, from Yelena. They meet, they fight a little bit. Yelena kind of tells her that the Red Room that's been referenced so many times in the MCU is still active. Dreykov is still out there. Natasha thought that she killed Dreykov way back in the day, but really she didn't. And apparently it's revealed that Natasha killed Dreykov's daughter as well, or thought she did. So then they go and they have to take down the Red Room. First they have to kind of look for it, but they have to assemble the family first. That's where Red Guardian comes in, and Natasha and Yelena's fake mom, and she's training pigs in this weird ranch house, and that was pretty cool. And she like chokes the pig, which was weird.
Yeah, yeah. The pig is like, she's like trying to prove a point or something. I guess.
Like,
I don't know.
And she names him Alexei, which is the dad's name. And he goes, you named the pig after me? And she goes, you don't see the resemblance? And then she chokes the pig, and she goes, it's okay. Alexi still had 11 more seconds to live. Like, she's tracking all of it. It's so scientific. So she's like the science person of it. And it's revealed that she's still working for Dreykov. She was never out of the system. Red Guardian's been in prison. They broke him out. There's this cool avalanche scene. Anyway, the family's back together. They go to the Red Room. And the Red Room is in this floating palace in the sky, and that's why nobody found him. And they get up there, they fight, a lot of people, obviously, a lot of action. There's a really cool scene where Natasha fights a bunch of Black Widows, probably the best fight scene in the movie, and all the Black Widows eventually get conscious because Yelena throws the mist on them, and then that's kind of the end of the movie because they all meet together back on the ground after. There's another aspect where Taskmaster comes in, and it's revealed that Taskmaster is actually the daughter of Dreykov that Natasha thought that she killed, but she didn't. And we'll go more into that later because that's one of the problems I have with the movie. But they eventually all meet together on the ground. Natasha has to leave because she has to go break her friends out of jail, which is actually revealed because in Infinity War, we don't know how everyone got out of jail, because at the end of Civil War, everybody's in jail, and then they show up out of jail in Infinity War. We're like, wait, what happened? So this reveals what happened. Natasha breaks them out.
Or
at
they
the
just
end.
were like, oh, we didn't think about that, and then they went back and wrote that into this movie.
Yeah, I mean, they do that a lot, to be honest. They try to fix things as they go. And yeah, so then all the Black Widows are with Yelena and the family, and they just kind of fly off for a future movie. And then post-credit scene, the girl with the purple hair, Victoria something. I can't remember.
I don't know. I haven't seen Falcon
Not
and Winter
Victoria.
Soldier.
Oh no, Francesca something De Fontaine or whatever. She apparently Yelena works for her, and she recruits Yelena to try to kill Hawkeye, because she's trying to convince Yelena that Hawkeye killed Black Widow, because it takes the post-credit scene is in 2023
So that's after Infinity
after
War?
Endgame.
After Endgame.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
So there's a lot to process there.
Yeah, there really is. The quote of the movie that we came up with was obviously the best one. I don't want to go back there, says young Natasha. I want to stay in Ohio. Doesn't everyone want to stay in Ohio? Ohio's just sort of like the place that everyone wants to live. You know, it's so exciting and the weather is so beautiful.
When the first title card came on that said Ohio 1985 or 1995, we were at an Ohio theater, and the people were like, oh, like everybody around.
There might have been.
Yeah, someone. I don't know if someone clapped or not. I don't
There
know.
was people clapping during something, but I don't know there was that. But there
Yeah.
was people who were definitely going like, whoa.
It's just funny, because Ohio
Yeah.
isn't really a much referenced state, you know?
Yeah, but yeah, it's in this movie twice. 'Cause
Yeah?
they go to Fremont, Ohio. They specifically mentioned Fremont, Ohio. I forget why. But they go there, don't they?
I don't know.
Or is
I
that
can't
something
remember.
else?
I
No,
think
that's
you're
in
right.
Loki.
Oh, they go to Fremont, Ohio, and Loki.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
wait,
do.
you're right. That's so weird.
So Ohio's becoming a bigger
The MCU is
player
coming into Ohio.
than MCU. There, they must have looked at the target demographic and how they were going to sell things and been like, you know, we really underrepresent Ohio in our our
like,
movies. We need to really start hitting on Ohio so that people go watch our movies.
Zach Leewald keeps rewatching our stuff so many times he makes up half of our viewership. So we need to represent his state in our movies. Let's destroy Columbus in the next Battle of Columbus. That would be so funny. There's about
Battle of
like
Columbus.
coffee shops are getting destroyed.
Yeah, it's like they set up in those like the 8 high rises that are in Columbus, and they just things are getting toppled. There's probably more than 8.
You would
I don't know.
the only way
high rise.
to the only way to have a fight scene in Columbus is an Ant-Man movie where it's smaller stakes.
Yeah, and their smaller stakes are like, okay, it's a smaller movie, so we're gonna be in San Francisco,
Oh, yeah.
so much smaller.
I know.
It's like San Francisco is still a big city.
Jinx. So they quote actually.
No, this is the Outsider review. Or
Oh,
yeah,
my
yeah.
bad. Sorry. Go ahead.
I put things in the wrong place on the spread on the document, but the Outsider review comes from New York Times, but not
Oh
from A.O. Scott, sadly.
no.
From Maya Phillips, who can always be a pessimist.
Yes.
She I guess it's surprising that the New York Times doesn't like Black Widow, but I guess maybe the New York Times tends to be contrarians, because they say Black Widow never feels more than just a footnote in the story, a detour that holds no weight in the larger MCU narrative, except for to set up Yelena for a larger role in the future.
They got a point.
I don't think they're too off base though.
Yeah.
But I thought everyone knew that going in.
Yeah.
I didn't think the expectations for this movie were higher than that.
Yeah. Maybe we should just get into that. Like, what parts of it did you not like, big picture wise?
Well, the thing is, I don't know that this movie really matters to the big picture. Here's what was weird about it. The villain, it seems like he has a lot of control over the world, but it's never referenced almost ever in the rest of the MCU. So it's like, here's this guy who's secretly in control of this assassin force that's like supposedly like he's arguing that he controls all the world leaders and stuff, which we know that the MCU is bigger than just Earth. So he is still a smaller in the grand scheme of things, because he wouldn't be no match for Thanos, obviously. I mean, he's thinking in the Earth he's powerful.
Thanos is actually probably a better person than this guy.
Yeah, this guy was just kind of Yeah, he was not a very likable villain.
Yeah.
I like to like my villains, you know. I like to think, oh, they're doing some good moral thing. Wow,
They think they're right.
They think they're right. At least their intentions were good.
Yeah.
I don't think the intentions of this guy were good.
No.
And he wasn't.
Yeah, he'd kidnap girls and force them into this program.
So it's sort of like a take, I guess, on human trafficking, kind of.
That was what the opening sequence was referencing.
Yeah.
So
Which is definitely a real problem. It's very sad, and it probably tends to be secretive, like this was. So maybe that was sort of their like allegory version of human trafficking in the MCU universe, like sort of how they addressed that issue. But in the grand scheme of things, yeah, it seems like, oh, he's just done, and then why did it matter that we heard about him at all? I don't know. But that's any villain, really, in Marvel.
Yeah,
like
so
most
far.
villains are kind of like, oh, they had their big moment, and then they just got foiled, and then they're just gone.
Hey, one villain got his own TV show.
That's true.
Just one.
That's
though.
why Loki was good, because Loki was like good guy, bad guy. Nobody really knew.
One day he's good, one day he's bad. It's just up for grabs, you know.
Yeah, so he's so unpredictable. And if you watch the show, which I feel like we've touched on the show a little bit, like is pretty good
Yeah, it's
a
pretty
representation of Loki, because it sort of just bounces around and you never exactly know where it's headed.
Although-
Whereas this movie, you pretty much knew where it was headed the entire time.
good. Yeah, I think big picture wise, I think you're right that it didn't have a big impact or impact at all, especially since the title character is dead.
Yeah, yeah.
Like-
Maybe that's the thing, because it's like Ant-Man. The Ant-Man movies probably also don't have that much of an effect. Maybe the second one they used more in Endgame. They set up some things that they eventually
Yeah, just
used
the
in-
time machine though.
Yeah,
That's it.
Just that. But like it was before Endgame, so then it was like it's building to something. This is like, oh, we forgot to put this in, and now we're gonna do it. Like we're gonna retro do it.
I feel like
instead
yeah,
of-
they're just a few years too late.
Yeah.
Like they should have did this in phase 1.
Yeah, they should have. Why did they not make a Black Widow movie after Iron Man? Like I
The
don't.
thing is, well, I mean, she wasn't a profitable character. She doesn't have any powers.
Yeah.
They need to start out strong.
That's you're right. That's the sad thing about, because I think Black Widow is a really interesting character in a lot of the movies. She had a big role in Winter Soldier, and I liked her in that, and a fairly large role in what was the second Avengers movie?
Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron. I don't know why I forgot the name, but she in those two movies I thought her character was pretty compelling. So it was like then it was like seemed like we had built the character, because before nobody knew who Black Widow was. I mean, it was like everyone was like, oh, there's Captain America and the Hulk and Iron Man, who I guess was more of a B tier, became A tier as soon as the movie came out, and Thor. Everybody knew those people, but then it was like Hawkeye and Black Widow. Who are these people? Like if you were not a comic book fan, you wouldn't have known who they were. Now the only thing about it is it seems like Scarlett Johansson would have the star power to do something earlier, but
You're right, because she was a big name before this anyway.
yeah, and this really took her to another level, I think, even than what she was before, because she did a lot of like who was that one guy who was kind of end up being a bad dude? Woody
Harrelson?
not Woody Harrelson. He's a director, but you know, not.
I don't know, but I think
He did a lot of movies with Woody Allen. She did a lot of Woody Allen movies. Woody Allen, another guy who we're gonna have to be like footnote,
yeah.
kind of a bad dude, or really a bad dude, not kind of. And then she did this movie called Lost in Translation. That was Sofia Coppola. And I mean, she did, like, people would know who Scarlett Johansson was, but like this took her to like that like superstar sort of level.
And I feel like this movie is less of what is needed for the MCU and more of an ode to Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, it was like, we owe this to Scarlett Johansson
She's
to make
been
this
in
movie.
here, and they're giving Hawkeye. Like I feel like Kevin Feige, when he approached, because I know the conversation when Kevin Feige approached Scarlett Johansson, he was nervous to tell her that she was going to die in Endgame, and he told her. And I feel like in Kevin Feige's mind, he's like, I'm going to make it up to her by giving her a movie, you know?
Yeah, that's very possible.
Because Hawkeye still gets a series.
Right,
He's the only one without a movie.
right.
Mark Ruffalo doesn't get a movie, but he gets a series.
And to be fair, Hawkeye would be the hardest one to mark. You know, like
Yeah, you're right.
Jeremy Renner is a good actor, but not a, A-list actor. And Hawkeye is not, it doesn't have the powers that the other one does, so he doesn't have the marketability.
Well, there's no-
but good for a TV show.
There's no
because that's what
underlying-
people are interested.
There's no like underlying huge story either for Hawkeye. Like
Other
Black
than
Widow
what they
referenced
did,
this.
other than what they did with, like at the end of Age of Ultron with his family and stuff, that was
yeah.
kind of like it kind of got you a little bit more engaged in his character. But again, you're right. It's not like a big thing. He's not like the biggest part of the cog that's moving along.
But like Black Widow, they referenced the Red Room. They referenced blood in her ledger. Loki referenced killing Dreykov's daughter in the first Avengers movie. So like they've been referencing these big events for Black Widow for like 10 years. But like Hawkeye has never had. The only thing I can think of is Hawkeye saved Black Widow's life, but Black Widow referenced that, and then also that. Like there's the Ronin when Hawkeye became Ronin in Endgame, and like those 5 years, I want to figure out what happened to him in those 5 years to get him to that point after his family died. Like,
oh yeah,
that would be really cool, and I hope they at least
that might
talk
be what
about
they're doing,
it in
right?
Hawkeye.
Is that not what they're doing?
Well, it's Hawkeye training Kate Bishop, and played by Haley Steinfeld.
Oh, gotcha.
So, and then Yelena's also in Hawkeye, obviously, because she's trying to hunt him down.
Right.
So, I mean, we'll see Yelena in a couple months. So.
Oh, is Hawkeye coming out soon?
Mm-hmm.
I have a hard time keeping track of the order of everything.
Yeah, we'll have a good break for a while because there's like 10 weeks of the What If show,
which is
it's just the multiverse. It's animated.
Oh, okay.
So it's showing different multiverse possibilities.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, what if Peggy Carter became Captain
Oh, okay.
America?
Is this supposed to be more of a like sitcom-y, like funny thing?
Kind of. It's an anthology series, so every episode's different.
Right.
So then it's gonna be like The Watcher, which is like the guys at the end of Guardians 2 in the post-credit scene with Stan Lee.
Oh yeah.
Those are like the people that just watch the universe and like see stuff. So they're one of the Watchers is telling the story, and it's actually canon. So like these are other universe possibilities, and of course this comes out after Loki, after the multiverse has been created. So it's just explaining. I think it'll give us little nods to how the multiverse works, and it'll give us cool stories. They're played by the actual actors. So, like, there's one where what if Doctor Strange was evil? That one looks really cool. So,
yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
But before we get too much further, I gotta bring up briefly Hedman Anglin Agency, where you can go to for all your insurance needs. So if you need some good auto and home insurance, if you're needing to get away to Russia very quickly,
that's a good one.
and you need like a plane for a good getaway, and you need some good and solid insurance on it, then I need you to call this number, 614-486-7300. That's 614-486-7300. And just tell them that we sent you. Well, or don't if you're on a secret mission. Because we don't want to be too wrapped up in that.
We don't want to be compromised.
Yeah. I mean, you can tell us. You can tell them secretly.
Just whisper.
Yeah.
Nobody will hear you.
Nobody will hear you. Okay, so now do you want to go through our 9 points?
What was the one we took out?
Plot, because we already talked about it.
Oh, yeah.
Or unless we want to like touch on it more specifically.
Oh, well, maybe we could talk about in Brita Moments specifics. Big picture we've covered.
Yeah.
Like there were just, I think it was just importance and urgency. There was none of that.
Yeah.
For this movie to happen.
Yeah, they tried to build it, but it just didn't work.
I feel like that's a good summary.
Sentiment, I feel like this is one of those lukewarm, sort of. Maybe a little bit warm, but it's sort of lukewarm.
I didn't care about Black Widow that much before.
I kind of was like, I'm glad she's getting a movie, but it was more of a like Kevin Feige sense of justice sort of thing. Not like I really want this person to have a movie. It's just like, oh, this seems fair because all the other superheroes, which is kind of a dumb way to think about things, because like superheroes as like ideas don't have feelings. So,
but ScarJo has feelings.
I guess maybe like I'm glad ScarJo got her own movie, but if it's not that good of a movie, then maybe I wish that she was in a better movie. I don't know.
It hardly set up anything too.
No, it didn't matter that much.
I think Yelena and Red Guardian will be cool additions though, and the
Yeah,
mom even.
Elena's cool, and I mean they're all cool. All the
Yelena's
people
funny.
they added.
The mom is funny. Like there was one scene where at the end, Natasha walks up to her parents and says, "Are you guys okay?" And she goes, "I'm clearly injured." So she seems funny. So hopefully they'll come back somehow.
Yeah, the chemistry between the four characters seemed pretty decent. So I did enjoy that part. The message of the movie was a little bit more serious than probably some MCUs but it was not necessarily. I don't know that they did a great job. Like, it was clear that they were trying to hit on human trafficking, but I don't know whether they really gave you the sense of how terrible the situation that the girls were going through was, because it would have been too heavy. Like, if they would have shown the young girls being kidnapped and trained when they're super young and really wasn't Scarlett Johansson? No, this was Jennifer Lawrence. She was in a movie called Red Sparrow that was like basically this, but like
Yeah.
a lot more graphic. And that's what I'm saying. I'm not sure I would have wanted that movie because I'm not sure that's really a good thing, but it would be a lot more. I guess it would show you the bad parts. The problem with a movie like Red Sparrow is it could tend to like exploit some of the more like
Yeah, it's just
yeah,
like
it could be more of an exploitative film instead
It's
of
just
a
like-
revealing film because it goes too far with some of the graphic
it's,
things.
how much do you have to show to prove a point?
Exactly. But I'm not sure they showed enough in Black Widow. Like, you gotta strike that balance. If you're trying to make a point about it.
Would you want an R-rated Black Widow?
I don't want it to be R-rated.
But
I'm
would
just
you?
like, they didn't.
Would that be cool? It's Black Widow.
It would be cool. I mean, R-rated, a lot of Marvel movies would be cool.
But
it would
they should
basically.
do Blade,
Blade should definitely be R-rated.
but it's not.
I know. But Blade was meant to be like an R-rated superhero movie. And it was, I kind of liked it. Like, I know it's like that pales in comparison. And Wesley Snipes has sort of a like no personality type thing. But I still liked it for some reason. Like, there was still some sort of endearing quality. Even though it was like he was very mechanical.
It's a '90s like thriller
Yeah, it's
action
like,
movie.
and I didn't have to take it too seriously. The bad guy in that movie was like weird looking No, he wasn't a vampire. They were trying, or was he a vampire?
I think it was.
Yeah, because the
You're
thing
talking
is,
about the first one?
yeah, the thing about Blade is he's like half human, half vampire, right?
Yep.
And so the
he
bad
hunts-
guy was a vampire, and he hunts vampires. And because I remember it was like they went to this party, and then there was just fountains of blood that just came out of the ceiling, and it was like, oh my gosh.
You're
what
talking
are
about the first scenes?
Yeah.
Yeah, those ones are funny.
Yeah, but now it's like sort of probably not aged that well, but like I said, there's still like an endearing quality. This would be, I mean, if they really upped the violence in this movie, it would have been cool.
Yeah,
But-
I did like the Black Widow fight scenes though.
Yeah,
That's in choreography though.
I think some people criticized that there were too many fight scenes and they didn't mean that much, but I was like, I mean, we knew this movie couldn't mean that much, so you might as well have cool fight scenes.
What about what did you think of the Taskmaster fight
I thought
scenes?
Taskmaster was like pretty cool.
The Taskmaster fight scenes I thought were cool. Like, where is it? Like,
Yeah.
you could look and see superheroes. Like, he flips a knife. You're like, that's Bucky. Like, he does the T'Challa, like Wakanda Forever.
Yeah, because he's mirroring.
Yeah, and I thought that was really cool. He kicks the shield up like
She.
Cap. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be honest. I'm pretty sure, and this is all the YouTube videos say this, that a man was in the suit doing the stunts.
Yeah, I mean that probably.
Just by the physique of it. And you watch the movie, and I could be completely wrong, but all the YouTubers I've watched have said that, and it seems like I think because it seemed really much like it was a guy, but I actually predicted it was going to be his daughter. Okay, I forgot about that part. The daughter scene where it was a big reveal. Taskmaster is a really cool villain in the comics. Very cool. He's so powerful. He can literally mimic any moves, and
he's cool. I mean, the fight scenes are like I feel like I underrated them. Like
Yes.
like the suit and everything,
It
and the
looks
way
cool.
that he looks is
It looked
or she,
good.
She cools or she looked. It was
But-
very cool.
but she didn't have a character.
No,
She didn't even talk.
no, she didn't.
She had nothing, and that's really disappointing. And I really hope that she gets brought back. Did she
Yeah.
die?
No, she didn't.
Where did she go?
Remember, she was on the ground, and then like Natasha.
Oh,
goes
you're right.
and
You're right.
Talks to her.
So I want her to get a story arc, because I don't know. I had big hopes because they in the trailers they really hyped up Taskmaster.
Right.
Really, like that was the main thing that they were hyping up, and it was just like a B plot with a kind of
Taskmaster
predictable
didn't-
reveal
didn't
with no
mess up.
character.
Yeah,
No
absolutely
character.
no character.
Not a
Like,
single
zero.
line. So it's just like she might have said like, "What do I do now?" like one or something like that. I don't know, but it was so disappointing, especially for people that kind of knew. I didn't know it that well, but I knew the character before, and it was just because that's like one of the biggest villains.
Yeah,
So
and you can tell why. I mean, Taskmaster definitely looks like one of the cooler looking villains.
yeah,
You know, I mean, but it was kind of disappointing that there was just like nothing to
Yeah.
the character really.
and that's perfect for our next part, character arcs.
Yeah, so we're saying bad character arc for Taskmaster.
Good character arc for Yelena.
Yelena.
I thought she was
had a-
great. She had to find her family again, learn about it.
All of them, really. The family character arc as a whole was
Mm-hmm.
good because they had to, and they did this thing where they tried to trick you into thinking that they weren't. They were like against each other at one point, and then they revealed that they were planning it the whole time, which I was like, was sort of
the mom probably called on them at first.
no. So what I'm talking about is when the Red Room or whoever comes to their house to get them.
Yeah, the
Then-
mom called them to come when they arrived. I think the mom still had bad intentions when they arrived.
But
and
she
called
changed
them.
her mind.
But then when Natasha said, "You made me stronger. Why did you keep the family portrait book?" Then that like broke her, and then then she was just staring at Natasha, and it cuts to the next scene, and then I feel like they made that plan right there.
Gotcha.
So
That's
I
good-
think
good.
because why would she call them?
Right. Because why bring the attention to when you don't have to?
Yeah.
Like you'd have more time to plan.
Yeah.
Even.
So
if you
I
didn't do it right away.
I think
even if
that
you thought it was
I think
inevitable.
Natasha reached her.
Yeah.
So
And then Yelena was upset for some reason, and then Alexei tried to talk to her. and it made
Yelena was
it, like-
upset because she thought it was a real family, and that was her only family that she had, and she still wanted it.
She cared the most about the family.
She still wanted it. Red Guardian wanted pride and glory.
Yeah.
And then the mom wanted nothing to do with anyone, and Natasha was like, "No, this is fake. I need to get out of here and just complete the mission."
Yeah. But they all sort of came together by the end and realized the like even though their family was fake, they still had something.
Mm-hmm.
They still had this like foundation that forced them together, and that wasn't for nothing, you know.
And another thing is, I don't think that the mom or dad are redeemed yet.
No.
They still are horrible people.
That's a good point. And you can say Yelena wasn't really a horrible person because she was mostly taken advantage of and then mind controlled.
No, she was mind controlled for like 20 years.
So it's not her fault. But the other people aren't mind controlled at all. So they're just bought into the
I know that they
communist
said-
propaganda
I know they
in
said
the USSR.
I think Red Guardian was caught up in it. I know they talked about that the mom
Well, because that was
caught
his
up
whole
in it.
thing was that he was like the propaganda. Like he was like supposed to be the symbol
Yeah.
for their country. So of course he was caught up in it. She more was like interested in the science.
She was, but she said that she said Natasha said, "Why did you do this?" And she said, why does a hamster or a rat run on a wheel in a cage?" And
Oh,
I was
yeah,
like,
she did say that.
So like she could have been held against her will, but the fact that she still sent people, like she knew that she sent Yelena into the field. That's still very questionable.
Yeah.
It's like she knew that she sent Yelena to be a Black Widow, her own daughter that she raised for 3 years or whatever. That's still very questionable, even if she was forced to.
Right. Because you're an adult who's capable of standing up against something, even if it has consequences.
even if
for
it
you.
kills you.
Yeah, and so you can't say just because she didn't want to take the consequences that all the blame's lifted from her.
And who knows? Maybe Dreykov forced her to, like mind controlling wise, because he had the pheromones and everything. So
That's true. The pheromones were an interesting thing.
So I feel like everybody's just kind of a bad guy. in this
Yeah,
movie.
Dreykov, his character arc was like, I mean, just the typical villain, like flat character arc that's
Yeah.
like bad the whole time, no redeeming qualities. Which
They
is
really
fine.
made you want him because he slaps.
He was just a horrible guy, and that's fine. It's good to it's fine to have a villain who's just bad, like
And-
all the way. I mean, everyone's bad, obviously, but like really just evil and accepting
Yeah.
of it. You know, not wanting to turn away from it at all.
and they really make you hate him because it shows like him like slapping Natasha like 8 times or something like maybe 4 times, and you're just like and she can't control it. Like she's mind controlled, so she can't hit him or whatever because of his pheromones.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh my gosh, like
Yeah, it's just
I hate this guy.
and then you realize that he's been taking advantage of women like his whole entire life.
And then he
it's
says the
just-
line like the natural resource, the most underused natural resource in the world, or what? He's not underused. The most
like available or
I
something.
forget. He said something about women being a natural resource.
And it's just like, oh,
Like it's like we add like the people would add in those lines just to hate that character.
yeah.
Like there's
Just
no
because it's like really just this dude is
like
like
there without that line I would still hate him, but the fact that he said that it's just like ugh.
he's like even beyond sexist at that point. He's like not even acknowledging that women are like human. He's like he's
Yeah.
basically dehumanizing and taking away their humanness.
And he put a chip in his daughter's neck and like forced her to be his prized possession of killing machine.
Trying to find a more messed up. Well, he might be able to, but yeah,
I do
there's a lot
love-
of really messed up relationships.
I do love that Yelena was the one to kill him because she was the one under his mind control the longest. So, because he was in a helicopter getting away and she put the stick in the turbine, and it exploded the
Right,
helicopter.
and then Natasha rescues her.
yeah, somehow Natasha's a human and somehow can land from a falling building.
Well, then they have a parachute, and then the parachute broke,
Well,
and then they
yeah.
landed.
But there's also another
It's like,
scene where remember they go across the pillar, across the ravine, and Natasha like hits a thing, hits another thing, and falls and lands.
oh, that's right.
And I was like, that's so dumb. She's a human.
Yeah, it's like she still has bones. You can't build your bone tolerance up that high. Like,
No.
I mean, she doesn't have super soldier serum. I don't know. It's like she is a superhero, I guess. So they take the liberties.
I mean, Red Guardian could have. He actually had super soldier serum.
Whatever.
But yeah, I mean, the character arcs for the whole family were good. Sorry, I got
Yeah.
really off topic.
Oh, but we'll go to cinematography because it was mostly pretty good. And yeah, obviously all these movies are like very CGI heavy. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. It was good.
The falling stuff at the end was cool. We've never had a scene where everything's just falling.
Yeah, that's true. I haven't done it. The closest thing to that is the end of Winter Soldier when the things are falling out of the sky.
Yeah, you're right.
But
that's
it's
not like full.
It's not like the people are falling, and we get entire scenes of them just falling down and having to do things in the sky while they're
Yeah.
falling. We've never seen that. So I think it's mostly pretty good. Maybe check back in 5 years, see whether it's held up. It's always hard to tell with
Probably
these kind
not.
of movies. I mean, because you go back and watch old Avengers, some of it hasn't held up
No.
over time. So it probably will be the same with this movie.
Endgame was beautiful.
Yes, hopefully that holds up.
Yeah, it will.
Originality, not good.
Not really.
It's like the basic, origin story.
Yeah, there's
It's
not
not
really-
an origin story though. It's not an origin story. It's just, but
A
it's
story.
not. It's just a story that we've seen before.
Yeah, there's not really a single original. Like
Well-
family getting back together, her as a trained assassin, raised in that way, killing a big bad guy that she was trained by.
Yeah,
That's all. That's all been used. I feel like.
yeah. It's not originality. Is not this movie's strength. The acting, though, acting in MCU movies tends to be really good because they have money to pay really good actors.
I love that they brought in Stranger Things David Harbour.
Yeah,
so
It's a
good.
good one. Rachel Weisz
Yeah.
was the mom, and Florence Pugh was a good addition.
Yep. And
She's
she'll
definitely-
be a big person in the
Yeah,
future.
she's gonna be huge because she's only like what 22, 23.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, because Scarlett Johansson's like 37.
I'm predicting that
So-
her and Spider-Man will date when MJ dies. I'm joking. I know.
And I'm like, well, that's interesting. But I don't know. She also seems like as a person, like she has this like really bubbly personality. Like
She's
if
funny.
you look at her social media, she's like always like super positive and like talking about things, and her relationships with like her stunt person. I was just looking through, and it's like I
Yeah.
don't know. She just seems like
Social.
social. Now you never know how these people actually are, but
Yeah.
she just seems like she might be a more pleasant
No,
celebrity
it came
to
out
be
through
around.
the movie. Like she could have been just a regular sister and still likable, but there were scenes where like she just ate a random granola bar in Natasha's bag,
Yeah.
and she's like, "It's disgusting," or "It's
Yeah.
dry," or something like that. It was just
Or her jacket, the thing with the pockets.
Yeah.
That was really funny.
Yeah.
She's like, it has pockets.
yeah. So, I mean, she really added some flair to it just by being like, I feel like just a regular person.
Yeah.
Like,
She'll make jokes
she's
that
normal.
like just a normal person would
Yeah.
make.
So I feel like that's more relatable than like David Harbour moving a tank or whatever he does. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably right about
and
that.
wanting big glory in a prison.
And she's in a much better movie than Midsummer.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, some people would say Midsummer is a lot better than this movie, but I don't like Midsummer at all. So, whatever, to each his own. Style, kind
Dark.
of just dark. I mean, I think it maybe style's slightly a bit original. Some of the things that they did.
It works for this movie. It's very dark for an MCU movie. Very.
The score was good.
I don't remember it.
I don't remember it, but I think that means it's good. I mean, I remember the songs with words, but there weren't that many. And,
Yeah, the soundtrack was good.
and I think it's just like a typical Marvel big noises soundtrack that like tips you off to what's about to happen. It's a big scene because there's a big number, like a
Yeah.
big score and whatnot. And then the choreography is excellent, very good.
Oh yeah, the
I
falling
think
scene.
I think that's probably the best thing about the movie, honestly.
Taskmaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, the choreography was great. Especially even Red Guardian. Like his style of punching was like slower. Like
Yeah.
he would have to wind up his punch. It was-
Because he's like power. He's
Uh-huh.
not like tact or flexibility or anything like that. Like Natasha would be more like being agile and
Yeah.
swift.
doing
whereas
the
he's
leg
just
thing. He
like-
did the leg thing on her, where he jumps on the legs on his shoulders. you
Oh
know?
yeah.
Like she wraps her legs around someone's head and like twists. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing. I don't know what it's called.
But overall, what would you rate this movie? I'd probably go
B minus.
B minus. I had B written down, but now I'm like, I don't know. B minus seems more.
B minus is. I could be generous and give a B, but I give it B minus.
Yeah. It's go watch it if you like, especially if you like MCU. I mean,
You gotta watch
you
everything.
gotta
MC.
watch everything.
Although, okay, this is just a side thing. Soundtrack, we were talking about that. Loki's soundtrack is very good.
Yes.
Because I can still think it in my head. Dun, dun, dun.
They do that thing where they reference back to the theme and do it slightly differently, which I really like when
And in
people do that.
the fifth episode of Loki, this isn't Loki, I'm sorry, but in the fifth episode when they're fighting Eliath, sorry, spoilers, where that theme comes in while they're fighting, I thought that was really good. Like, and I can remember the theme, which is I never remember a Marvel theme,
Right.
Besides like,
Avengers.
yeah, dun, 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 that's it. So
Now the other thing is that Loki's soundtrack sounds more like something like Stranger Things.
yeah,
Like that has that sort of maybe not quite that much synth, but it's more like that.
they were going
Which
for
is not
different, yeah.
necessarily a lot of the Marvel movies have more orchestral, like orchestra traditional.
And they mixed that
Scores,
together in
yeah.
the Eliath fight. So
Yeah.
that was my favorite soundtrack of MCU so far.
All right, well now we go to Britta Moments with Britta.
Very.
Um,
I feel like we covered all.
we covered everything. This is the problem with having sections. Because mostly we talked about everything that we're upset about with this movie. It doesn't fit well.
I'm
So
not-
maybe we're just summarizing.
I'm
it.
not fully on board for Valentina Flor. What's her name? De Fontaine.
Now we're picking apart the end credit scene.
Yeah, I'm not exactly on board with that yet. Ben, you haven't seen Falcon Winter Soldier. Is it okay if I say what she does in that?
Okay, sure, whatever. It
It's
doesn't
not
matter.
big. She hires John Walker.
Who's John Walker?
So you don't. It doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah.
So she hires John Walker, and to become U.S. agent, and that's like her supervillain setting up a supervillain team or whatever. And she's definitely evil because she wants Elena to kill Hawkeye. So she'll show up a lot, I feel like. But
She's like the Nick Fury of the
yeah,
villain team.
but that's a weird storyline. Like, when are they gonna do that storyline? Especially with this Kang and multiverse stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, there's the multiverse coming out next year. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, and Loki just opened the multiverse. Spider-Man's about the multiverse, and they're about to do this huge multiverse storyline with Kang the Conqueror, like one of the biggest villains in comics. And then you just have this small, weekly powered supervillain team that is being assembled. And I'm just like, what is...
So
why
it's
is
just gonna be like a fly, and Kang's just gonna come in and
Yeah.
just hit them to the side.
Why couldn't they do this, like, after, like, when everything's calmed down? Like, I don't know. I feel like they're trying
Maybe
to
they
do
will.
so much
Maybe
at
they
once.
will. Maybe they'll wait until after the Kang the Conqueror thing is
Okay.
resolved and then do.
Maybe.
But that wouldn't be. I mean, the thing about where the current direction is, Avengers was really good because it had a clear, like, each movie is building towards another Avengers movie, and then we're building towards the ultimate Avengers movies, which are Infinity War and Endgame. And that was after Endgame. It marked this thing where it was like the popularity of the MCU was at its highest, which means they couldn't just stop, which would have been the best thing that they could have done.
Probably.
That would have, from an artistic standpoint, stopping there was the best. From a business standpoint, they couldn't stop because
From a Disney standpoint.
they could never stop making money because it's very profitable. I mean, the MCU is very profitable.
Like
So
almost
from a
30
business
billion.
standpoint, it would be suicide to stop doing MCU. And Kevin Feige is this guy who's really obsessed with all of this.
He is a
stuff.
fan. He's a fanboy.
And it seems like
it's
he's
great.
just, and maybe that's good. Like maybe it's good to have this like. This is the first time we've had something that's so hits on all
Expansive.
bases. It's so big, and it's getting bigger by the thing that they're doing.
And
But
if you're not fully in, then you're not going to know anything.
the question is, are we gonna start like excluding people because people aren't gonna be able to keep up?
No-
People
yeah.
already couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
First, like I don't even watch Infinity War and Endgame in theater because I was trying to catch up with everything else. They
You're
didn't
gonna-
start right at the start.
But like WandaVision, you kind of have to watch. Falcon, you don't really have to watch. It doesn't really affect bigger MCU. It just sets up a superhero, two
That-
superheroes.
That's why it's like good that every TV show doesn't matter.
But Loki
a lot.
matters.
Loki matters, but people want to watch Loki
You're right.
more so than like Falcon and Winter Soldier is not as attractive. Like I'll watch it eventually. I mean, I'm going to Florida soon, so I'll probably watch it.
There's
on
only
that
6
trip.
episodes. It's not
So
bad.
that's why I'm like, I'll get to it when I have time.
And Loki's not like, I don't think Loki's top tier or anything, but the storyline sets up really well. And like Ben said, it doesn't like end in a perfect happy thing.
Yeah. It's got this sort of ending that's like it doesn't fulfill what you want, but then at the same time that's sort of good because it keeps you on your toes. And there's gonna be another season, so
And it introduces probably the next Thanos.
right. And I honestly though, in terms of TV shows, I feel like Loki could be one of the top tier. But since there haven't been that many TV shows, it's hard to tell.
It's good. People were disappointed because the last episode was all about talking and stuff. And
Yeah,
some people
but
think Loki's
I think
kind
that
of a weak
was good.
character.
Well, of course he is. That's the point of Loki. Loki is supposed to be a weak character who's trying to be a strong character, but he's always going to be a weak character.
I know. I agree with you.
But and I think people who want Loki to be a strong character don't understand
That
who
he-
Loki is.
Well, Loki's confused about himself throughout this whole thing, and I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, that's why I think maybe it's just going to take people time to process. Like, it's still taking me time to process. That's what I like about Loki is, like, it doesn't all make sense
Every
at once.
episode changed directions. That's
Yeah.
what was the
The
best
question
thing about
was,
it.
did it because it consistently changed directions, did it all fit together super well was the hard part to figure out.
I don't know. It
Because
was-
you always thought it was going one way and then it would, like, switch. And then
Yeah.
you'd be like, what?
The Sylvie thing was okay.
Yeah, and then Owen Wilson's character was good.
No, I loved Mobius.
Okay,
What?
Mobius was amazing.
I loved Mobius.
And Loki was good because they didn't like turn him into a good guy right away, and there were still moments where you're like, but then he got super emotional at the end.
And it's for
I don't
love.
know.
It's not like he's doing it to save people. He
Yeah.
loves her, Sylvie. And
then
Sylvie's kind of good.
Sylvie is the one who's confused.
Well,
still.
Sylvie's good though. Like when she was a little girl, she was saving that little ship when she was playing with it.
Yeah.
So like she's good at heart. And but
It's
this
just really weird the concept of falling in love with yourself too.
and they never explained what her Nexus event was, did they?
Yeah. No.
Right?
No, they didn't. I don't think.
Oh shit.
Oh, also, by the way, if you haven't watched Loki, sorry.
Yeah, whatever.
We'll put a Loki spoiler in the description.
I'm glad we get a break with What If though.
Yeah.
I'll just enjoy these. They'll be like cheap ones, but
No, but you don't have to think about him too much.
yeah.
And then is it Hawkeye right after?
Miss Marvel or
Miss
Hawkeye,
Marvel.
one or the other.
Okay, I'm not super excited about Miss Marvel, but
Yeah.
Hawkeye. Maybe it'll be good, but I'm not super excited about
I
it.
don't know, man. I don't know. She's a superhero that was recently introduced.
So
Like,
like,
within the past like 10, 15 years.
oh gosh, so she's new.
New to
overall.
comics, yeah. So-
Well, stock market. Gotta invest in the MCU,
Yeah.
but I don't know. There's a lot, not necessarily a lot of people that invest. Maybe Florence Pugh and like the character of Yelena.
I would invest in David Harbour.
Yeah, okay.
I
But
wouldn't
I think-
Scarlett Johansson is dead though. So
yeah,
you
I think
can't.
this is sort of like she's gonna reach a different point in her career it's pretty soon. Like she'll be doing different roles.
Yeah.
More like what she did in Jojo Rabbit, where she's like somebody's mom.
Oh yeah, that was
something
good.
Like
That was she did really well in that.
Yeah, which I would enjoy. Like I think she'll do a good. I think she's somebody who has a lot of actresses end up not having super long careers because they are cast a lot when they're younger and then they don't get cast when they're older, which is kind of sad. But I think Scarlett Johansson's somebody who's gonna stay around for longer. Maybe she could turn into a Meryl Streep or something like have that
Or
kind of
Betty White.
where it's like it's good to cast people not just based on looks. Like it's something Hollywood struggles with.
Yeah.
Like making movies that are like not
Cast more David
because
Harbors.
people do want to see people who are attractive, but at the same time, especially in superhero movies,
It's unrealistic.
but it's
I mean,
unrealistic.
superhero movies are unrealistic anyway.
And then that's the point. That's what I mean. People want to see an unrealistic person in a superhero movie, and that's okay. But like in other types of movies, you want to see people that are more
No,
realistic.
I want an ugly hero.
An ugly. Well, we did it. David Harbour. If that's the ugliest,
David Harbour's not
if that's
ugly. He's actually not ugly.
If that's the ugliest hero, then like I'm like super ugly because David Harbour is attractive.
I'm not even kidding. David Harbour is attractive. Like, actually.
Yeah, no, he is. I agree.
Yeah.
They did their best to try to make him not attractive, but he still is.
Who would be an ugly superhero? Are they making any ugly? No, Shang-Chi's not ugly at all.
No.
Or Shang-Chi. Yeah, I guess there's no ugly superheroes.
No, but that's because they're superheroes. They're
Yeah,
supposed
but
to be
make
like...
an ugly superhero. We need ugly people to represent. I need
it's true.
people to represent
but
me.
people never want to be called ugly, though. That's the hard part. Where you can be like, oh, this is the first ugly superhero. ugly power to ugly people. And they're like, who's ugly people?
Yeah, and someone would do it. Someone would fill the role, you know.
Yeah, somebody would.
A lot of people
Jack
would
Black.
be in line. If they put Jack Black in the MCU as like a small villain,
That would be amazing.
that would, like a Thor villain,
Yes.
him fighting Thor.
In Love and Thunder, that would be amazing.
No, but Christian Bale's fighting Thor in Love and Thunder.
What?
Yeah, he's Gore the God Butcher.
That I did know that. Yeah, now that you mention it, I remember that.
Gore the God Butcher is a very powerful villain in the comics.
Why do they only get one movie? Why do these very powerful villains only get to be in one movie?
And then like John Walker and Yelena get another.
Yeah, like if they're so powerful, they should last more than one movie.
I don't know.
And Loki lasted so long, he's not even that powerful.
Surtur's still alive. That's
Sur-
it.
Yeah.
From Thor Ragnarok. I don't know. I trust Taika Waititi though. Whatever
Yeah.
he does.
Yeah, it's
So.
usually good. It's usually quirky.
And
but
James
good.
Gunn too, apparently. So I'm excited for both
Back
those.
for Guardians, and
Yeah.
I think we're gonna review the new Suicide Squad at some point.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yep, it looks really good.
So that will be interesting because that's James
Speaking of John Cena.
Gunn. Oh yeah, we'll talk more about John Cena and Taiwan and their beef later.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So my final conclusion for this movie is that it's it's average.
It's an unnecessary cool dark movie.
Yeah, it's cool but unnecessary.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much it.
And David Harbour and Yelena and Rachel Weisz, we're glad that you can join
Yeah.
the ever expanding side characters of the MCU.
Yeah, that don't get that much time on
And
screen,
wait,
but-
that's so confusing. How are they gonna fill all this? Like, there's Darcy, Jimmy. There's so many side characters now. Sylvie, all the different well, they're probably not gonna bring back any of the Lokis.
No, that except for the alligator.
But like, think of like the power broker stuff. That's still like Sharon Carter's still. Oh, you don't know that, whatever. And everything like there's still everything going on with like in WandaVision, all those side characters like Monica. Like, when are they all gonna have their time?
yeah, they're like overdoing. Like they're having too many people.
Just focus on the multiverse. That's what I want.
yeah, I know. That's what they need to do.
Anyway.
Dear Kevin Feige, focus on the multiverse.
Yeah, we don't need big Marvels crossover. We don't need weak superhero team up yet or supervillain team up yet. Give us that later.
Yes.
One at a time.
All right. Well, with that, we'll close the vault. We'll kick the vault door shut in a very seductive fashion.
Okay. Oh yeah. I want to stay in Ohio.
Don't we all want to stay in Ohio? Everyone wants to stay in Ohio. It's the most beautiful place on earth.